Hey everyone, Joshua Hanlon here at BrickFair Virginia, and today we've got a Second World War German build for you today. So we've got a couple of different builders that worked on this. If you want to introduce yourselves, then we'll take a look at the build.
All right, I'm Liam, Raisin Bricks on Flickr and Instagram, and this is the Ludendorff Bridge. So basically, after the failed Ardennes offensive in the winter of 1944, the Americans, or the Allies, had the Germans pushed up to the Rhine River, and they were looking for places to cross, and the Ludendorff Bridge happened to still be standing. So they found that, and the Germans, they failed to blow up the bridge in time in order for the Americans to cross, to block the Americans from crossing. So they were able to make it across, actually, before they blew the bridge. And we don't have that depicted right here. We took a little bit of creative liberty because we thought it'd be nice to have Germans on the mock and, have the bridge like blown up too. But basically the bridge fell after the Americans took it, and Hitler was kind of mad about that, and he had some of the commanders executed for it just because the Americans captured it intact and they were able to cross, so that's some of the history behind it.
Thank you for that. And then if you want to introduce yourself and what was your contribution?
All right, so hi, I'm Caleb, also known as Neighborhood Bricks. And so what I built was the water more so over here in the front. Other collaborators were Spiky Guy, he did these three. Wyatt did that single plate. Peter did these in the back. And then Leo did this corner right here. So when packing for the convention, some of us flew, some of us drove. The people who drove, their plates survived way better than the people who flew. So like this terrain up here, it looks nice, but it's very weak underneath. So when we got to the con, this was all falling apart. We had to build like a third of the collab here, actually. But it turned out pretty well. Like even like on this little rock face right over here, this was not even planned because the terrain didn't even line up. This was a high point, and it went up like another brick or two. We ripped some of it apart, but we still had to compensate. So I think it turned out nice for a little bit of a last-minute addition. But
yeah. I mean, I think that's a common issue you face with collaborations. You've got to be flexible, so when you come to a show, you can make it all work.
Yeah, like we brought a bunch of extra parts. It ended up not being enough. We went over to the pick-a-brick wall over in Tyson's Corner. We went over to the parts vendors here. Got a little bit of stuff, but some parts aren't good, some parts are.
Just scavenging for anything.
Yeah, really, we were. Yeah, we were.
Something that stands out on this build for sure is the bridge. So if you can talk about kind of the design of that, you got a very nice kind of smooth-looking design there.
I'm not the one who drew it up, but what I can say is that we chose the best people with the parts for it to do it. So if you see like underneath with that nice curve, I'm pretty sure that's like an old half pipe or something from Lego skating. So that was a great choice for that design. And we also chose, because we had the dark gray there, the old dark gray, it was able to blend in well with other parts of the build. There are a lot of cheese slopes on this though. I think it's 400 cheese slopes per tower. So on the back tower, we kind of ran out a little bit on that, but we throw it together. Yeah, we chose a bunch of 1x2 tiles for the bridge to kind of show that it's made out of brick, give that texture.
So going back to the historical kind of basis for the build, what was your research like for that? Did you find photos or personal accounts that you kind of based this off of?
Yeah, I mean, so like it's also sort of like started from last year's collab. We were supposed to do some sort of like Italian because we wanted to incorporate like that sort of mountainous terrain, and like as we were trying to like find ideas, we sort of came across the Ludendorff Bridge, and we sort of passed it up a little bit. So this year we sort of brought it back because we have that like nice big bridge. We wanted to get that scale on it, and you can sort of see it here. That really steep terrain. That's what we wanted to focus on. So we just sort of like brought that idea back from when we were planning for 2020. It unfortunately got canceled last year, but yeah.
So take us through some of the minifigures on the build then, and kind of the parts on them and what they represent.
I mean, like, so we wanted to do some like late war Germans. So like, some of this stuff is a little tattered. Their uniforms aren't so like, uniform anymore. So like, some like splinter camo. I don't know. We all like gathered our German parts together and just sort of like plopped them on the mock, sort of like a last minute thing. But so some Germans marching up here. We have some Germans marching up behind the tank. The tank's sort of like broken down. Some medical stuff in the trench down here. Some guys hanging out by the house over there. You see some like engineers, sappers, sort of like preparing, to blow a little bit more of the bridge over there on the end with some dynamite. Just stuff like that. Just give this scene a little bit more liveliness.
One neat thing about the little tree design here, it looks like those are like the flower pieces stacked on top of each other for the trunk.
Yeah, the flower pieces, studs and the flower pieces. We sort of found these like little ribbed, almost like Technic pieces that we've sort of like grabbed from the parts bins over there, just to give trees more variation. It's really great.
Yeah, the whole scene came together very nicely, so I'm glad you guys were all able to work on this together, and thanks for bringing it out to the show.